Hey everybody, it's Alex Miller at Capnion here. I've seen a lot of conversation and advice about how to handle your AI program. And frankly, I get a bit of anxiety just from the diction and the sentences. Not that the advice isn't good, but there's a really subtle danger. So I hope you'll accept some fussy advice from an old dog of war, and if I have one virtue, I would never blow smoke up your ass. What is AI? It's a lot of things. I'm kind of a back room engineering nerd that got lost in the woods and had to learn to schmooze to survive, and I won't lie to you, I feel a little guilty talking using this language. I think it's enlightening to bring in a concept like code switching. Words like artificial intelligence are great for getting people excited, persuading, talking about potential value. They're very vague and they lack specific reference in a lot of use. So the danger is that you work on this language in a setting that's really about marketing on some level. And if you're not real careful, you take that language to the implementation phase and you really set people up to fail. You really need to not be talking about AI and be talking about something very brass tacks and specific. So I'm going to give several examples in a second, but it's kind of like you could say something: AI will supercharge our sales pipeline. That's great marketing. That sounds great. I'm sold. The reality might be something like, well, the sales reps use this dashboard, and we want to add a field on the dashboard that contains a score about how the sales rep should react to a given prospect. And we'd like this score to have XYZ very specific properties. If you talk like that, trying to persuade somebody, try to get them excited, you're a cooked goose. But if you don't talk like that a little further down the road, ugly. And I would say, yeah, this really is one of the bigger reasons that people's AI initiatives fail. You shouldn't have an AI initiative, really. You should have something more specific, and maybe you sell it with the term AI, but hopefully somebody somewhere has got all the details. I'm going to give two examples. One is real old and I've just been going on forever, and I'll give another one that's very specific about generative AI. And the message here is you need specificity about what you're trying to do and your goals, and thinking about AI in the abstract, it's going to burn you. So first, it's been true forever that the business and the engineering crowd do not see eye to eye on what we should call artificial intelligence. And I think both sides are right, and this is the tragedy and the danger I'm trying to articulate to you. So a cliche is that some product is pitched as AI, and then somebody finds out it's just a bunch of if-else statements under the hood. Is this bad? The engineering crowd, of which I am often an enthusiastic member, has a bit of a vice. Like, we love exotic, complicated Rube Goldberg contraptions made of glass that only one genius knew how to build. From a business standpoint, that's hot garbage. If you're an IT executive, somebody shows you something like that, you're losing sleep. If something can accomplish something well, if it provides you a good capability and it's all if-else statements, from a business standpoint, that's wonderful. It's actually a virtue that it's made of if-else statements because it's easy to audit, it's easy to fix. We could be entering the era of algorithmic bias lawsuits, and you're going to have a great chance to say that you made the decision for the right reason and not the wrong one. The Rube Goldberg contraption is going to leave you high and dry. So when you say you want AI, what is AI and why do you want it? To move on to a second example, I think generative AI has kind of turbocharged this problem in interesting ways. Generative AI is, of course, different from my example about scores, and the output is not some number or a 0 and 1 about a decision. It's like a whole block of text. So, already AI is a lot of things. There's this line of commentary I mostly agree with. We like to talk about maturity. People are like, oh, your data, I see this all over LinkedIn. Oh, your data's not ready for AI. You got to do this, you got to do that. Well, what is AI? Because this could be good advice, and it could be disastrous advice where you miss out on the important value. So I'm going to contrast two kind of generative AI use case scenarios I think lots of people out there are working on. Every really big corporation out there has some huge, slightly disorganized mountain of unstructured data it knows it could do something useful with if it had the tools. So, the real power of generative AI, and maybe throw in some vector embedding, vector database, broader machine learning tools, is actually that it's going to help you deal with that your data is a mess. So specifically, generative AI kind of, along with maybe some other tools, provides the opportunity for a computer to have a much better chance at sifting through all these things, finding the right things, and then basically reading them and then integrating that and giving that to a person in a way that can use it. So it's solved this problem that the lack of structure, this just general data quality situation is not great. So it's maybe true that, okay, your data is ugly and you're not mature. Generative AI is going to help you solve that problem. And if you get kind of seduced by, oh, your data's not ready, well, you missed out and it's too bad. But hey, on the flip side, well, what if you're in this crowd of you want to refine a chatbot for your own use on your own data? Then it becomes very important, once again, that whatever is providing the training data for this is how you want it to be. It's clean, it's well formatted, you know what's in it. To the extent things kind of look like question and answer, is it the right answers you want it to be giving? And this is something about what is the maturity of your data. If your data is a mess and you get into trying to play this game, we want to refine an LLM on our data, you're going to have a really bad time. So once again, the biggest danger to your AI program is vague bullshit. And I don't blame you any more than myself for using this kind of language about AI. But my advice to you is, in the back of your mind, accept the inevitability of this kind of code switching, where when you say AI to one person, be aware that if you want this to go well, later you should be thinking about saying something very specific to an engineer. And who cares if it's AI? Who cares if it's anything? Caring should be coming from very brass tacks. We want to accomplish this for our business. These are the parameters of how this thing should behave. As an old-time tech guy, please listen to me. Yeah, and as usual, if you listened this far, I bet you liked the video. Please push some buttons to show that you liked it. If nothing else, this kind of feedback helps me tell you things that are useful and you'd like to hear.